She worked hard for years to reunite with the love of her life, but when she finally finds him, she discovers that he has become a jerk. Sabrina, a 23-year-old nurse, dedicated years of her life to her studies, all to be able to reunite with Miguel, the doctor who inspired her and made her heart beat faster. But upon securing a job at the hospital where he works, Sabrina discovers that the charismatic and kind man of her memories is now cold and insensitive. What happened to Miguel to change him so much? Now he is someone who avoids any form of emotional connection. The secret behind all of this is darker than Sabrina could have ever imagined, and we will discover it next, so stay until the end. Subscribe to the channel, give it a like, and click the bell to not miss the next videos. From a young age, Sabrina was captivated by the idea of healing and helping others. Her heart raced with excitement every time she visited the local hospital with her mother, who volunteered there on weekends. Sabrina would watch the nurses and doctors with awe, admiring their dedication and compassion. She dreamed of one day joining their ranks, donning the white uniform and making a difference in people's lives. But it wasn't until she met Miguel that her dreams took on a new dimension. It was during a summer internship at a bustling hospital that Sabrina first encountered him. Miguel was a young doctor, full of energy and passion for his work. His warm smile and kind eyes drew her in instantly. They worked together on several cases, and Sabrina found herself falling for him. His encouragement and mentorship made her believe in her potential, and by the end of that summer, Sabrina was determined to become a nurse, not just for herself, but for a chance to work alongside Miguel again. Years passed, and Sabrina's dedication never wavered. She studied tirelessly, motivated by the memory of Miguel and the impact he had on her. She excelled in her studies, always keeping her goal in sight. When she finally graduated and received her nursing license, she knew exactly where she wanted to work. Landing a job at the same hospital where Miguel worked felt like destiny. Her heart pounded with anticipation as she walked through the hospital doors on her first day. The dream she had nurtured for so long was about to become a reality. Sabrina couldn't wait to see Miguel again, to show him how far she had come and, perhaps, to rekindle the connection they once had. Little did she know, the Miguel she was about to meet was not the same man she remembered. As Sabrina took her first steps into her new life as a nurse, she was filled with hope and excitement, unaware of the challenges and heartache that lay ahead. Sabrina's heart raced as she walked through the familiar hallways of the hospital on her first day. Memories of her internship years ago flooded back, each step bringing her closer to seeing Miguel again. She clutched her clipboard, taking deep breaths to steady her nerves. The anticipation was almost overwhelming. She had imagined this moment countless times. How she would greet him, how he would smile, recognizing her immediately. She finally reached the nurse's station, her eyes scanning the area for any sign of him. And then, there he was. Miguel stood at the end of the hallway, his back turned as he spoke with another doctor. Sabrina felt a rush of emotion, joy, excitement, and a touch of anxiety. She took a step forward, her heart pounding in her chest. "Miguel," she called out, her voice trembling slightly. He turned around slowly, his expression unreadable. Sabrina's smile faltered as she saw the change in him. The warmth in his eyes was gone, replaced by a cold, distant gaze. He walked toward her with a professional demeanor, his face devoid of recognition or joy. "Can I help you?" he asked, his tone polite but impersonal. Sabrina felt a pang of disappointment, but quickly composed herself. "It's me, Sabrina. We worked together a few years ago during my internship." Miguel's eyes flickered with brief recognition, but it was quickly masked. "Ah, yes. Sabrina, welcome back." His words were curt, almost dismissive. "I hope you find everything to your liking here." The warmth and familiarity she had expected were nowhere to be found. Sabrina forced a smile, trying to mask her hurt. "Thank you, Miguel. I'm looking forward to working here." As he turned and walked away, Sabrina stood there, feeling a mix of confusion and sadness. The man she had admired and dreamed about for years seemed like a stranger. What had happened to him? Why was he so distant and cold? Determined not to let this setback deter her, Sabrina resolved to find out what had changed Miguel so drastically. She still believed in the connection they once had, and was determined to bring back the warmth in his eyes. The reunion had not gone as she had hoped, but Sabrina knew this was just the beginning of her journey. Days turned into weeks, and Sabrina's initial excitement was slowly replaced by a heavy sense of reality. Every encounter with Miguel was marked by his unyielding coldness. He maintained a professional distance, his interactions with her strictly limited to work-related matters. The warmth and charisma she once admired seemed like distant memories, buried under layers of detachment. Sabrina often found herself watching Miguel from afar, trying to understand what had changed him so drastically. She noticed the way he avoided personal conversations, how he kept his interactions with everyone brief and to the point. It was as if he had built an impenetrable wall around himself, one that no one could breach. One afternoon, after a particularly grueling shift, Sabrina gathered the courage to approach him. She found Miguel in the break room, sitting alone with a cup of coffee, staring blankly at the wall. Taking a deep breath, she walked over and sat across from him. "Miguel, can we talk?" she asked softly. He looked up, his eyes empty. "What is it, Sabrina?" She hesitated, then spoke. "I know something's changed. You're not the same person I met years ago. What happened?" For a moment, she thought she saw a flicker of pain in his eyes, but it vanished almost instantly. "People change, Sabrina. It's part of life. But this isn't just change," she insisted. "It's like you've shut everyone out. What happened to you?" Miguel's jaw tightened, and he looked away. "It's none of your business." Sabrina's heart ached at his response, but she pressed on. "I want to help, Miguel. I care about you." His gaze snapped back to hers, and for the first time, she saw a glimpse of the anguish he had been hiding. "Help? How can you help? You can't bring her back." Sabrina's breath caught. "Her? Who are you talking about?" Miguel closed his eyes, as if trying to block out the memories. "Her name was Anna. She was my fiancée. She died from a rare disease, and there was nothing I could do to save her. I failed her, Sabrina. I failed the one person I loved most in this world." The raw pain in his voice was palpable, and Sabrina felt tears welling up in her eyes. "Miguel, I'm so sorry. I had no idea." He shook his head, his expression hardening once more. "It's too late for apologies. I've learned to live without emotions. It's easier that way." Sabrina reached out, placing her hand gently on his. "You don't have to live like this, Miguel. Anna wouldn't want you to shut yourself off from the world." He pulled his hand away, standing up abruptly. "You don't understand, Sabrina. Just focus on your job and leave me alone." As he walked away, Sabrina felt a mix of sorrow and determination. Miguel's coldness was a shield, a way to protect himself from the pain of his past. She understood now, but she also knew that breaking through that shield wouldn't be easy. Still, Sabrina was resolute. She would find a way to reach Miguel, to help him heal and show him that love could still exist, even in the face of such profound loss. Sabrina couldn't shake the conversation she had with Miguel. The mention of Anna had revealed a chink in his otherwise impenetrable armor, and she was determined to understand the full story. She knew that if she wanted to help Miguel, she needed to know more about the woman whose loss had turned him into the cold and distant person he had become. During a quiet moment at work, Sabrina approached one of the older nurses, Clara, who had been at the hospital for many years. She hoped Clara might have some insight into Miguel's past. "Clara, can I ask you something?" Sabrina began, her voice tentative. Clara looked up from her paperwork, her eyes kind and knowing. "Of course, dear. What is it?" "It's about Dr. Miguel. I heard he lost someone important to him, someone named Anna. Do you know anything about it?" Clara sighed, her expression turning somber. "Ah, Anna. Yes, I remember her well. She was a beautiful soul, full of life and energy. She and Miguel were inseparable. They had plans to get married, but life had other plans." Sabrina listened intently as Clara continued, her voice tinged with sadness. "Anna was diagnosed with a rare and aggressive disease. Miguel did everything he could, consulted with specialists, tried every treatment available, but nothing worked. She passed away in this very hospital, and it broke him. He hasn't been the same since." The pieces of the puzzle began to fall into place for Sabrina. She realized that Miguel's cold demeanor was a defense mechanism, a way to protect himself from the pain of losing Anna. His transformation from the warm, passionate doctor she once knew to the distant, emotionless man he had become was his way of coping with the unbearable grief. Determined to learn more, Sabrina visited the hospital archives during her lunch break. She found old records and photos, hoping to catch a glimpse of Anna and understand the depth of her connection with Miguel. Among the files, she discovered a photograph of Miguel and Anna, both smiling brightly, their arms wrapped around each other. The love between them was evident, and Sabrina's heart ached for the pain Miguel must have endured. That evening, as Sabrina sat in her small apartment, she reflected on everything she had learned. She knew she needed to approach Miguel with understanding and compassion, to show him that it was possible to heal and find love again. But she also knew that this journey would be challenging. Miguel's pain was deep, and breaking through his defenses would require patience and persistence. The next day, Sabrina found Miguel in the break room once more. She approached him, her heart pounding with nervous anticipation. "Miguel, I know about Anna," she said softly, her eyes meeting his. Miguel's face tightened, but he didn't turn away. "What about her? I know how much you loved her and how hard you tried to save her. I can't even begin to imagine the pain you went through," Sabrina continued, her voice gentle. "But shutting yourself off from the world isn't the answer. Anna wouldn't want that for you." Miguel's eyes flashed with a mix of anger and sorrow. "You don't know anything about what she would want." Sabrina took a step closer, her gaze unwavering. "I may not have known her, but I know what love looks like. And I know that love doesn't end with loss. It changes, it evolves, but it doesn't disappear. You still have so much to give, Miguel." For a moment, silence hung between them. Then, Miguel's shoulders slumped, and the walls he had built around himself seemed to waver. "I don't know if I can do this, Sabrina. I don't know if I can open myself up again." Sabrina placed a comforting hand on his arm. "You don't have to do it alone. I'm here, and I want to help. Let me be there for you, Miguel. Let me show you that it's possible to heal." As Miguel looked into Sabrina's eyes, he saw a flicker of hope, something he hadn't felt in a long time. He knew it wouldn't be easy, but for the first time since Anna's death, he felt a glimmer of possibility, a chance to find solace and perhaps even love once more. Sabrina's resolve to help Miguel heal grew stronger each day. She knew that breaking through the fortress he had built around his heart would be a slow and challenging process, but she was determined. With patience and care, she began to take small steps to win his trust and, hopefully, his heart. She started with simple gestures, bringing him coffee in the morning and offering to assist with difficult cases. She made sure to be there when he needed an extra pair of hands or someone to talk to after a tough day. Gradually, Miguel began to notice her efforts, though his responses remained guarded. One evening, after a particularly grueling shift, Sabrina suggested they grab a bite to eat at a nearby cafe. To her surprise, Miguel agreed, albeit reluctantly. They sat at a small table by the window, the atmosphere filled with the hum of conversations and the clinking of silverware. As they sipped their coffee, Sabrina tried to steer the conversation toward lighter topics, hoping to see a glimpse of the man she once knew. "Do you remember the time we had to handle that emergency surgery together during my internship?" she asked, smiling at the memory. Miguel's expression softened slightly. "Yes, I remember. You were so nervous, but you handled it well." Encouraged by his response, Sabrina continued, "I was terrified, but having you there made all the difference. You believed in me, and that gave me the strength to keep going." For the first time in what felt like ages, Miguel's lips curved into a small smile. "You were always determined. That's something I've always admired about you." Sabrina's heart skipped a beat. It was a small victory, but it meant the world to her. She decided to push a little further. "Miguel, I know things have been hard for you, and I can't pretend to understand everything you've been through, but I want you to know that I'm here for you, no matter what." Miguel's gaze met hers, and for a moment, she saw a flicker of vulnerability in his eyes. "It's not easy, Sabrina. Letting someone in after all that's happened. It's difficult. I understand," she said softly, "but you don't have to go through this alone. We can take it one step at a time." In the following weeks, Sabrina's persistence began to yield small, yet significant, changes. Miguel started to open up about his memories with Ana, sharing stories and moments that had shaped their relationship. Each time he did, Sabrina listened with compassion and understanding, never pushing him to reveal more than he was comfortable with. One day, as they walked through the hospital garden during their lunch break, Miguel stopped and looked at Sabrina with a mix of gratitude and hesitation. "You've been so patient with me, Sabrina. I don't know why you care so much, but thank you." Sabrina smiled warmly, her heart swelling with affection. "Because I see the good in you, Miguel. I see the man you were and the man you can be again. You deserve to be happy, and I want to be there with you every step of the way." Miguel took a deep breath, as if steeling himself for what he was about to say. "I can't promise anything, Sabrina, but I'm willing to try. For you, and for myself." It was a moment of breakthrough, a glimmer of hope in the midst of darkness. Sabrina knew the road ahead would still be fraught with challenges, but she was ready to face them, as long as Miguel was by her side. Their journey was far from over, but with each attempt at breaking down his walls, Sabrina felt their bond growing stronger, inching closer to the love she had always dreamed of. With each passing day, Sabrina's presence began to thaw the ice around Miguel's heart. Their shared moments, from quick conversations during shifts to quiet lunches in the hospital garden, slowly transformed their relationship. What started as Sabrina's attempts to win his trust blossomed into something deeper and more profound. One evening, after an exhausting day at the hospital, Sabrina invited Miguel to join her for a walk along the riverbank. The city lights reflected on the water, creating a serene and picturesque scene. They strolled in comfortable silence, the cool breeze carrying the promise of change. As they walked, Sabrina took a deep breath and spoke softly. "Miguel, I've been thinking a lot about us, about what we've shared and what we've been through. I want you to know that my feelings for you have only grown stronger." Miguel stopped and turned to face her, his eyes searching hers for sincerity. "Sabrina, you've been my anchor in ways I can't even begin to describe. You've brought light into my life when I thought there was none left." She smiled, taking his hands in hers. "And you, Miguel, have shown me the depths of resilience and strength. I care for you deeply, more than I ever thought possible." Miguel's gaze softened, the walls he had built around his heart crumbling. "Sabrina, I was afraid to let myself feel again, afraid that loving someone would only lead to more pain. But you've shown me that love can heal, that it's worth the risk." He gently cupped her face, his thumb brushing away a stray tear. "I want to try, Sabrina. I want to open my heart to you and see where this journey takes us." With those words, Miguel leaned in and kissed her, a tender and heartfelt expression of the emotions they had both kept hidden for so long. It was a kiss filled with promise, a declaration of the love that had been quietly blooming between them. From that moment on, their relationship flourished. They spent more time together outside of work, exploring the city, sharing stories, and creating new memories. Miguel began to let go of his past, finding solace in Sabrina's unwavering support and affection. And Sabrina discovered that the man she had admired for so long was even more remarkable than she had imagined. Their colleagues at the hospital noticed the change in Miguel, the warmth returning to his interactions and the spark in his eyes rekindling. The once cold and distant doctor was now a man filled with hope and love, thanks to Sabrina's persistence and compassion. One day, as they sat together on a bench in the hospital garden, Miguel took Sabrina's hand and looked at her with a mixture of gratitude and adoration. "You've given me a second chance at love, Sabrina. You've helped me find myself again." Sabrina squeezed his hand, her heart swelling with happiness. "And you've shown me that love is worth fighting for, no matter how difficult the journey." As they embraced, the world around them seemed to fade away, leaving only the two of them and the love that had finally found its way into their hearts. The blooming of their love was not just a new beginning but a testament to the power of healing and the magic of second chances.